Explore REST APIs with API Simulator and Postman. The DevNet Associate virtual machine includes a school library API simulator with API documentation and an associated database. You can use the simulator offline to explore APIs and test their functionality. You will learn how to use the school library API simulator to make API calls to list, add, and delete books. Later, you will use Postman to make these same API calls. Required resources: one PC with operating system of your choice, VirtualBox or VMware, DevNet Associate virtual machine, launch the DevNet Associate virtual machine. Oracle VM VirtualBox. This is the virtual machine and start. Okay. Explore API documentation using the API simulator. To understand how to make calls to a REST API, developers typically start by studying the API documentation. The format for requests, responses, headers, and parameters for REST APIs are typically documented using the Open API specification, formerly Swagger specification. Open the Chromium browser. Double-click the Chromium web browser icon on the desktop. Chromium web browser. Connect to the school library website. Library.demo.local. Library.demo.local. Okay, it's a local server. Go to the API docs page. The website defaults to the Our Books tab and displays a list of books. In the upper right corner where it states, click here for API docs. Okay, are you a developer? We have APIs. Click here for API docs. Click here. You will now see a list of APIs in the API v1 default namespace. Okay, school library API. Okay, this is the space API v1. API v1. Clicking anywhere on the API v1 bar will minimize the API list. Okay, click here and click again. Notice the log to the far right of several of the APIs. The log indicates that these APIs require a token to be used. Okay, this APIs require a token. List books using the Getbooks API. Click anywhere on the bar for the Getbooks API. This API returns a list of books in the school library. This Getbooks, click here. Parameters. There are several optional API parameters. This can be used to filter, sort, or paginate the output. This will be referred to later in this lab. Okay, the parameters. Okay, include ISBN, is Boolean, is by default false, sort by ID, title, author, or ISBN, default by ID is a string, author, return only books by the given author, string, page. Okay, to save resources and bandwidth, larger replays might be broken down into smaller pages. Okay, is integer. Response content type. Click application JSON to see a list of the different types of data formats the information can be viewed. Okay, response content type. By default on JSON, you can use XML or YAML. Use JSON by default. The code displays 200 by default, which indicates the API request from the server was a success, as displayed in the description. Okay, the code 200. Success. Use the try it out feature in the API documentation. One of the more powerful features of the Open API specification is the ability to test an API call to see if you constructed it correctly. You can also review the response to see if it is what you expected. You will see this same testing feature in API documentation for Cisco, MapQuest, and other organizations that use this Open API specification feature. In the Getbooks API documentation, click the Try It Out button. Okay, here Getbooks Try It Out. Notice that you now have the option to enter information for the optional parameters. Leave the parameters blank and click the Execute button. Okay, blank, 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 blank. Click on execute. Okay, this is the response. In the responses section, you will see CURL. The CURL command you can use to access the same information for the Books API. Okay, the get option, the URL and the space, use JSON, request URL. This URL is used in the API request, which can be used to request the same information using CURL, Postman, and FIDO. Okay, the URL. Okay, the site and the space code. This is the HTTP code. 200 successful. Code 200. Response body in JSON format. Response headers. Information about the API returned from the server. Response body. This is the JSON format and the headers, the length, the format, content type, date and time zone, the information about the server, use the CURL command in a terminal window. The Getbooks API provides information to access the content displayed in the response body using the CURL. CURL is a command line tool to transfer data to or from a server using any of the supported protocols including HTTP and HTTPS. Select the CURL command, right-click and copy it to your clipboard. Okay, use this. Okay, this command, copy. Open terminal window, paste. Okay, open terminal. Okay, CURL is the tool, is get operation or get request. HTTP protocol, the site is library demo local and the space is API v1 books and use JSON. Enter. and you got the JSON format information. 4 ebooks, 4 IDs from 0 to 3, the titles and authors. List books with their ISBN using the Getbooks API. Return to the School Library API website's Getbooks API. In the parameters section, select the down arrow next to the Include ISBN parameter and select True. Then execute. Okay, go to website. Up here, include ISBN, true. Execute. Now the responses is a little different. Now you can see this variable include ISBN is true. This is the difference. And obviously the response will include the ISBN. Notice the following changes. CURL includes the variable include ISBN is true. The URL also will include the variable, and response body has the same list of books as shown previously, but now includes the books ISBN. And obviously you can use the same GET request using CURL on command line. So copy this. Get include ISBN, JSON format, enter. Now you can see the response including the ISBNs. Get a token using the post login via basic API. Click the API post login via basic. Click here to minimize Getbooks and use post login via basic. Click here. No parameters for this. Notice there are no parameters. Click try it out, execute. Great, try it out. Execute. Okay, and look at this. You need a username and password. Username Cisco and password Cisco123. Case sensitive. And don't forget this character. Cisco123 character, and sign in. Very good. And the responses, this HTTP, the site, the space, JSON, the URL, and this is the token. Okay, code 200 for HTTP success. The token will be displayed in the response body. Select the information between the codes, right click and copy the information. Okay, copy this yellow section. This is the token. As you can imagine, this username and password. And this is the token. Copy this. Scroll up, School Library API, Authorize button. The available authorizations dialog box will appear. Okay, click here, authorize. Available authorizations. Paste, click authorize. Notice the name is X API key. This information along with the token will be used later in Postman. Okay, look at the name X API key, value, paste this is the token, authorize, authorized, success, close. Notice the logs by several of the APIs have now changed. These APIs are now available for you to use. Now, logs changed. Now you can use these APIs. Click on Post Login via Basic to close the window. Okay, click here again on Login via Basic. Add books using the Post Books API. Click the API Post Books. Okay, click here on Post Books. Okay, the payload is required. This is the example for payload on JSON format. You will only use JSON. Notice under parameters that the payload is required. This means that this API requires information for this parameter in the format specified by the parameter content type, which is JSON. try it out. Okay, click here on try it out, and you can edit this content because this is an input, JSON format input. And modify ID, title, auto. Okay, and on ID number 4, remember you have the IDs goes from 0 to 3, so the next should be 4, and Untitled IPv6 fundamentals. Rick Graziani. Execute. JSON and execute. Responses. Now you can see the post method, the site, the space, JSON format. The name is X API key, and this is the token, the username and password, content type JSON, and this is the input, ID4, title, IPv6 fundamentals, author, and the code is 200. Success. A code of 200 means the post was a success. You should see the book you added in the response body along with a new ID. You will also see updated information for CURL and the request URL. Okay, this is the CURL, and this is the response body. Response headers. To add another book, modify the ID, title, and author with the information shown below. Okay, ID 5, 31 days before your CCNA exam, Alan Johnson. Just modify this number 5, comma, 31 days before your CCNA exam, Ellen Johnson. Execute. Okay, now you can see, you can verify, very good, the response body, very nice, code 200. Okay, and verify. If you got 401 code, check the response body text. Most likely you received an error invalid API key response. This is because you did not enter all the characters for your API key, or possible you add an unnecessary space. Return to the previous step and repeat the authorization process. So you can go here and click API post books to close the window. You can verify books were added to the Our Books page. List books using Getbooks API. Okay, and click here on Post Books. And you can go to Getbooks to verify. And select this to blank. Okay, blank, 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 and execute. Now you can see the new ebooks, the new books, ID 4 and ID 5. Very nice. Click here, and also on command line using this CURL enter. Okay, ID 4, ID 5. And also you can use to include the ISBN. Enter. Obviously, the last two books don't have the ISBN. You will now see the two books you added. List a specific book using the Getbooks ID API. Okay, use Getbooks ID. Requires the ID as a parameter. Try it out. The number 4 ID. Execute. Getbooks ID. Try it out. ID 4. Execute. Okay, the CURL, the site, the space, with number 4 in JSON. And this is the output, the response body, the ID number 4. Delete a specific book using the delete books ID API and delete number 4. Okay, click here on Get Books ID and click on Delete Books ID. Try it out. Delete number 4. Execute. Okay, the operation is delete the site, the space, the ID number 4, and this requires a token. So the token is included. Response body. Okay, and click here. List books. Go to Getbooks. And blank, 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 execute. No ID number 4. No book with ID number 4. And obviously you can repeat this command line with curl with this command, no ID number 4. You will no longer see the book with ID number 4. Use Postman to make API calls to the API Simulator. You will use Postman to make the same API calls you made in the student library API documentation. Postman is a useful tool when an API developer website is not available, while providing the ability to easily save, organize, and reuse APIs. Open Postman. Normally, you will sign in to Postman. However, it is not necessary to get an account and log into Postman for labs in this course. Click here on Postman. Okay. List the books using the Getbooks API. In the main window next to the Launchpad tab, click the plus icon to create an untitled request. By default, this will be a GET request. Okay, click here on plus icon, untitled request. View the different API operations, including get, post, and delete. Get, post, delete, and others, like put. Okay, use get. Enter the request URL. Return to the school library API tab in Chromium, and on the request URL, select the URL, the site, the protocol HTTP, the site, and the space, The space is API B1 books. Okay, go to Chromium and copy this. Getbooks. This. Go to Postman. On the method use get. URL should be HTTP, the site library demo local, and the space API B1 books. Okay, be careful. And send. Send. Okay, and now you can see a status 200. Okay, a standard response for successful HTTP request. And the output, the ebooks. You can save the JSON output to a file using the Save Response button above the output. Get a token using the post login via basic API. Okay, plus icon. Select post. Enter the URL for login via basic. Okay, plus icon. Change to post. And the URL Chromium. Remember, the login via basic will use post. Copy this URL. Okay, on post, paste. And remember, this is to get the token. Send. And the status is 401 unauthorized, similar to 403 for Biden with 4 authentication. So that's why you need to click on authorization. Use the username Cisco and password Cisco123 character, case sensitive. And authorization. Basic authentication. Username Cisco and password Cisco123 character. And now send. And now you got the token. This is the token. Status 200, okay. add a book using Postbooks API. Now you will add the IPv6 fundamentals book you deleted in part 2, plus icon, post, the URL for books, plus icon, post, the URL for books, this URL for the previous activity, copy, use this, the protocol, the site, and the space is API v1 books. And authorization, use API key, go to authorization, API key, use the name, remember the name is X API key, case sensitive, X API key, and paste the value. Go to the previous operation and copy the token. Is only this. It's the value. Very nice. In the same row with the authorization tab, click body. This section will allow you to choose the format of your input. Click the raw radio button, click text, and change this option to JSON. And click on body. Raw. And on text, use JSON format. And add the book information in JSON format. In this case, we'll include the ISBN. Go to Chromium, go to Getbooks, so you can copy this. Go to Postman, paste, and do some modifications. ID 4, IPv6, Rick Graziani, comma, enter, ISBN, column, quotes, send and verify. Okay, and review. This is post, the URL, the authorization, the name, the token, On body, the contents on JSON format, raw JSON sent. Okay, 200. Okay, success. Then verify using get. Okay, and go to the previous operation. This the first get. This is get the URL books and send. Now you can see the new book. Okay, the new book with ID number 4. Use additional parameters with the Getbooks API. And go to the School Library API website, Getbooks. Okay, remember include ISBN, includes in the results the ISBN numbers. The default is false. Sort by sort result using the specified parameter, by default ID. Author, return only books by the given author. Page, use it to specify a page number. Okay, but do this on a School Library API. Try it out. And include ISBN, true, sort by author. Okay, go to Chromium, get books, try it out, and include ISBN, true, sort by author, blank, blank, execute. And the CURL, the URL. There are two variables. The first variable is include ISBN true, and another variable is sort by author. Two variables included. And the result is this, the response. Will include ISBN if exists, and is sorted by author A, C, C, M, at the end, and at the end staff. Very good. Notice that the request URL now includes the parameters. Okay, and do this on Postman. Okay, and should be get. Okay, return to Postman and go to the first API tab. Get with this URL. You will now include some of the parameters from the School Library API website. Okay, go to Postman, and the first activity, the first operation, get this site API v1 books, and this URL, the space API v1 books. Click params. You will see under query params input boxes for key and value. Enter the following information. Okay, on query params, key, value, and description. On key, use include ISBN, value true. On key, include ISBN case sensitive and value true. Now you can see how now is automatically included on the URL. Notice a check mark will automatically be included. Look at the check mark. Also here. And key sort by author. Sort by author. And also is included on the URL. Notice that when entering these query parameters, it has updated the original URL next to the get. And send. Okay, send. Now you can see include ISBN if exists, and author sorted by author. Use Python to add 100 books to the API Simulator. You could see the Open API specification, try it, tool, or Postman to add as many books as you want. However, you would have to add them one at a time. A better solution would be to write a program to add the books. You will simulate the process of adding 100 books by using the Python Faker library. Open Visual Studio, VS Code, and navigate to School Library directory. Okay, open VS Code from menu. Okay, Visual Studio Code. Navigate to Labs DevNet Source School Library. Click OK. File, open file. The home directory, Labs DevNet Source School Library. Investigate the libraries used by Add 100 Random Books program. Okay, click Add 100 Random Books to open. Okay, this is the program. Click open. Very good. At the top, notice the shebang that sets the interpreter to Python 3, and then the 3 libraries that are imported. Okay, this is for Python 3 and 3 libraries: requests, JSON, and Faker. You will use the Python request library throughout this course. The request library is required if you want to use Python to make API requests using get, post, delete, and other HTTP methods. Faker is a Python library that generates fake data for you. This program uses the Python Faker library to generate random book titles, authors, and ISBNs. However, complete the following steps to see all the 252 methods for the Faker library. Open terminal, start Python 3. From Faker, import the Faker module. Assign the Faker module to fake. To see all the methods, enter fake. And then press the tab key twice. Notice the method fake name, which you will use in the next step. In the next step and later in this lab, you will also use the three highlighted methods: catchphrase, ISBN 13, and name. Okay, go to command line. Okay, Python 3 from Faker, import Faker. Enter and assign Faker to fake. Enter. And fake period. Press tab key twice. Press tab key twice. Be sure you include the period. Fake period. Tab. And now you can see the methods. 252 possibilities. All the methods. This is the name and ISBN 13. Practice generating random data using the Faker library. Enter the following to generate a fake name. Print my name is format fake name. Print period. My name is that format fake that name. Use this method. Close this. Enter. My name is Jason Howard. Using the three highlighted messages, enter the command that would print the following fake output. My name is, and I wrote this with this ISBN. Okay, my name is, and I wrote ISBN. Okay, catch phrase. ISBN 15. Close this. Enter. My name is Jessica Ryan and I wrote downsized high-level encryption with this ISBN. Very nice. Later in the program, a loop is used to iterate through these three methods to create entries for the school library. Enter the following to generate 10 random names. After the three spaces, you will need to press return a second time. Okay, add the for loop for I in range of 10 from 0 to 9 and only print the name for I in range 10. Enter. Oh, I forgot the column. Okay, enter. Okay, press tab and add the print the fake that name method. Enter and another enter. Now you have 10 names. Quit file on. Review the function variables. The two functions in the program use three variables to get an authorization token from the school library API service. API host is this. Remember the site, the login for authentication on the site, username Cisco and password Cisco 123 character case sensitive. Go to VS Code, the three variables, site, username and password. Review the get authorization token function. The get authorization token function uses three variables to build a request. The R variable invokes the post method for the login via basic API and stores the token value if the call is successful. Notice the use F string to build the request URL. Okay, get out token, login and password. This is the site. This variable is this. This is the space. Authorization credits. If code is 200, very nice. Store the token and else send a message. If the call is unsuccessful, HTTP status code is not equal to 200. An exception is raised and printed to the terminal window. Again, notice the use of an F string to build the exception message. Okay, F string for exception message and F string for the URL. Review the addBook function. Similar to the add authorization token function, the addBook function uses the three variables shown in step 4 to build a request. The R variable invokes the post method for the books API. The data comes from a variable called book, which is specified in the final part of the program. Okay, add book. You need the variable book and API key. Okay, is post request is assigned to the R variable, the URL, the headers. Header will include the API key, the data for the book, that will be added, if the call is unsuccessful and a session is raised and printed to the terminal window. Okay, if the code is 200, book added is a message, else the exception error message. Review the code that invokes the two functions. The add authentication token function is invoked and the results are stored in the variable API key. Okay, API key, get authorization token. Is this get the authorization token? Is this function? The faker module is set to a variable fake. A for loop then iterates 100 times. The I variable is used later in the loop to set the value for the I key for each new book. Okay, faker and the loop. Okay, this is the faker module assigned to fake variable and the loop. Okay, from 4 to 105. Okay, this means iterations from 4 to 104. I repeat, this will do 101 operations from 4 to 104. So this should be 4. And this will do 100 iterations from 4 to 103. Next, three variables hold the value of methods invoked: faker, catchphrase, name, and ISBN 13. The three variables, this is for the name of the book, this is for the name of author, and ISBN number, and this is the JSON format. Recall that the payload parameter for the books API requires JSON in the following format. The addBook function is called Because addbook is part of the loop, it will be called 101 times, one time each for book ID 4 to 105. Okay, you can use 4 to 105 for 101 iterations, from 4 to 104. I repeat, from this range 4 to 105 will do 101 operations, or will do 101 iterations from 4 to 104. And this is the addbook function. Run and verify. So run the program. Remember the name. First, go to the directory cd labs, or verify ls go to labs, ls go to DevNet source, enter, ls go to the school library, enter, ls, and use Python 3 to execute at 100. Press tab to complete. Enter. Okay, and very nice. And look at the output. From 4 to 104 iterations, you have 101 iterations. From 4 to 104, you have 101 iterations. Return to Chromium browser and refresh the page. You should now see your 100 new books added. In this case, 101 new books added. Or you can use the documentation to review the new books. Okay, go to Chromium, go school library, refresh. Now you can see all the ebooks, loading more ebooks to 104 ID, or go to the documentation and Getbooks blank execute. Now you have this output from 0 to 9. You will on the documentation, you will only get a list of the first 10 books. You can enter a value from 2 to 10, the page parameter, to see the other books. Click here on page from 10. Okay, page number 10, execute. Now you can see the page number 10, the last page. Or page 8. Okay, very good. And how would you add another 100 books? Okay, and on VS Code, you can change the range from 105 to 204. Okay, change this value. Instead of 4, use 105, and instead of 105, use 204. So you will have 100 iterations. Remember, you added from 4 to 104, you added 101 books, because now you have 101 iterations. But to add exactly 100 more books, you need to set the range from 105 to 204. You will have 100 iterations. Thank you very much.